So I want to talk about this Eurogamer article, and I'm going to completely skip introductions because this is one of those more risky, on edge kind of, or like edgy videos where Eurogamer talks about the story, and they make it very apparent to say it in the very first opening paragraph. Now, let me make this clear. I believe Eurogamer actually gave It Takes Two 4 out of 5 stars. So they gave it like an 8 out of 10. They actually did give it a really good score, and they really liked the inventiveness of the game. They like the gameplay of it, but my problem with them and with this article is the first paragraph, and it's the story. This person who wrote it, I'm not going to say his name. I don't want anybody, going after him or even talk. I really don't even talk to this man because it's a difference of opinions. It's something that I feel kind of strongly about, and I'll walk you through why. With that being said, it's important to know that if you disagree, it's totally cool. I want to give my side of things. I want to talk about how I don't agree with the way he's thinking about it whatsoever, but at the end of the day, it's his opinion, it's my opinion, and we kind of have to just respect that. You know what I mean? So if you guys do like me making these kind of videos, by the way, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turn on. And if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, I'm pretty edgy. I try to get edgy there from time to time as well. Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. Link for that's in the description below. And I will be doing more videos on It Takes Two, a review, talking about, comparing it to A Way Out, quite a few other videos coming. So here's what he said. I almost turned it off, genuinely, after 10 minutes. I've had enough. A story about a girl's divorcing parents who are magically shrunk so they can go on an adventure together, and in doing so, work on their differences and get back together. Do me a favor. People divorce and families move on. It's a normal part of life and shouldn't be constructed as anything but. Are children supposed to play this and believe their parents could have rescued their relationship? Are divorced parents supposed to play it and feel bad? It's a dangerous idea to play with, and I wish It Takes Two hadn't. So honestly, I got to stick to my guns. Think that is the worst take humanly imaginable. Number one, he's very soft, this man, and I feel sorry the fact that he is so hurt by a video game. The fact that he literally talks about how it's a dangerous, and I actually did see people on Twitter call him out for this. Anybody who says, really most games just in general, if you say that the game is dangerous, you have a sensitivity issue. But for a game like this, It Takes Two, which, by the way, is just an enormously fun time. My wife and I are playing it. I can't even tell you how much we love it. And it's actually shocking. Okay, you guys may know from me leading into this game how excited I was for it. I've always been a fan of Joseph Fares. I've been a fan of A Way Out. So, I was super ready for this game. So, to call it dangerous, and I get he's talking about the story, but just in general, this game is not dangerous unless you truly are. I know the term snowflake is used quite often, but unless you are very brittle, this game's not dangerous. But and I know I'm going after him at this point. Again, it's opinions. Again, I don't even know who this guy is. I'm not going to approach him or talk to him on Twitter or anything like that, just to again make that stuff clear. But I have just a severe disagreement with what he's talking about with divorce. Now, I'm not going to go into my full personal life. To be quite honest with you, one day I kind of want to. I want to kind of go over everything. But just so you guys maybe know, I'm married. So I've been my wife and I just celebrated our 1-year anniversary last Friday. So I've been married for a year. We've been together for 3 years. We have a daughter. That stuff gets a little bit more complicated to talk about, so I'm not going to talk about that stuff too much. But that's the general gist. So I am married, and I have a daughter, okay? And I will say, I was not a child of divorced parents. So, yes, could you say, well, Alex, you don't know what it feels like to have your... Of course, I can say that. But also, at the same time, I can also say, well, are you married? Do you have a kid? And would you know what that would be like if you were on that end? And some people wouldn't be able to answer that one either, right? Or they'd have to say no. Okay, so we all have, and I'm not gonna say like, oh, I'm so privileged my parents didn't divorce. No, I'm not gonna. I would say that's a pretty stupid thing to say. So I'm not gonna go down that route. But here's the deal: divorce is like a real issue, and not, I guess, okay, maybe not issue if you don't want to phrase it that way, but divorce is like a big deal. So the biggest thing that he says, and that kind of gets me upset, is do me a favor, people divorce and families move on. It's a normal part of life and shouldn't be constructed as anything but. Now, yes, people are getting married less often in the past like 10, 15 years. People are getting divorced more often, so less couples are making it. So I understand that it is becoming more and more common, but that doesn't mean it's a normal part of life. you wake up, you have breakfast, brush your teeth, comb your hair, you go to work, you go to school. Like, you have dinner. That's like a normal thing you do. You hang out with friends. You play video games. That's a normal part of your life. A normal part of your life is not divorcing your significant other. You know what I mean? So, like, that's where I really, like, draw the line. It's like, and by the way, I'm not saying you can't divorce. If you are unhappy in your life, I've always preached this, and this is getting very personal and real. You have to do what's best for yourself sometimes. And I know that, I mean, that sounds very selfish, and it is. If things are not working out and there is zero way of fixing things, yeah, divorce is definitely an option. Now, let me say this. When you have a child, which is where I jump in, and also is what this game is about. See, it's not just about divorce. So when he says people divorce and families move on, I mean, I guess, but sometimes that actually, not even sometimes, it always leaves a ripple effect on your child. Make no mistake about that. So what I'm trying to kind of get at is, it sounds to me like this guy has no idea what it's like, and I'm not saying that he has to, but I'm saying he can imagine. You know what I mean? That's all I'm kind of asking for. Now, maybe, again, I'm in a position that's different. Maybe he's not married. Maybe he doesn't have a kid, so he's just kind of saying that. And again, if you were a child of divorced parents, obviously you may see it differently. If you're the girl, if you're the mother, and you're the divorcing the father, you may see it differently. So I'm the father, with divorcing the mother. So that's the way I see it. And look, is it something that you should never under any circumstances do? No, but I do think it's something that you should try to avoid under any circumstances. I mean, look, mistakes happen. You do things maybe when you're young, or you're in love early, and then it kind of like wears down, like whatever. Like, I get that, and again, like, people can make mistakes, even like if you can get people have kids and they don't even mean to have kids. But look, when you have other people involved, it's also not just about you. So when I say, you can be selfish, and like, if you like are hating your, and I'm not a counselor, by the way, so don't use my advice on anything, but if you hate your life and like and it would maybe be better for everybody, including the child, like, to move on. And obviously you have to find a way for it to work with the child, which is a very important thing, right? You do what you got to do. But if you're not trying to I would say, if you're not trying to get through it, at least first, I don't know what the problem is. You know what I mean? I think that's actually very lazy, and that's being insanely selfish also to the partner or the former partner and the child. Again, when you have a child, it's so much more, okay? Like, you could have as many issues with your partner as you want, but you have to think of the kid. Some families, in fact, I know, and I won't go too far. One of my friends, his parents, they stayed together simply because of him. They did not like each other all that much, but they stayed together and lived a family role. Now, they weren't always happy, and they fought, and like in front of him and stuff, but they did that for him. So there's circumstances like that happen, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think ultimately, maybe something hopefully everybody can agree about is, like, the children are the most important, right? We don't want bad things, and just in life, we don't want bad things happening to children. So when you have a child and you potentially could ruin their life by divorcing, you have to think. So what am I saying here? What I'm saying here is, yeah, actually, those are all very sensitive and rough issues, and I actually love that they make the attempt to go down that route in this game, and that and after that, by the way, because those are only really apparent in the cutscenes. When you're playing the game, they do throw in things like you see the parents, have a dynamic with each other, but it's also a lot about the gameplay and a lot about how every single level is different and working together and stuff like that. So it sometimes kind of takes a back seat, which I don't think is a bad thing. But like, to say it's dangerous, number one, again, like you have to be pretty weak to think that, and number two, I just don't like the mentality. And then I know I'm going on quite a long time, but are children supposed to play this and believe their parents could have rescued the relationship? Yeah, if you're a kid and you've never, now again, I'm not a child with divorced parents, but if I was, is it wrong to think about, hey, could they have made up? Could they have worked on it? Oh, heaven forbid they work on things. I know people like this guy obviously doesn't think like that, but heaven forbid they work on things, or heaven forbid maybe they put their differences aside because there's actually something more important, and it's the child. You know what I mean? So like, are children supposed to play this and believe their parents could have rescued the relationship? I don't think that's the point of the game. I don't think there's a 9 or 10-year-old going to play this game and question that kind of stuff, but it makes, especially me as as a parent, it makes me think about that. It makes me think, hey, let's say I divorce my wife. Let's say we divorce, which is not going to happen. But let's say we do it. What's that going to do? You know, and like I can think about that outside of the game, right? That can just come up in thought. But the game makes you think about that. And that's very deep. And I love that about this game. And then our divorced parents supposed to play it and feel bad. Well, you know, again, I think I think there should be a level of feeling bad. You know, it's not even, I don't even think it's controversial. When you get married, you're making a promise. You're making literally a life vow that you're staying. So if you break that promise, you should feel bad. You know, I mean, it's not something, it doesn't mean you can't do it. It doesn't mean it's illegal. It doesn't mean that everybody around you should look down on you and just think you're evil. But you broke the ultimate promise in life. You know what I mean? Like, and if that's what you kind of want to say, but you make a promise when you get married. And then when you have a kid, there's kind of an unwritten rule, right? That, okay, now you're in for the long haul. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't know. I really don't even know what to say about this guy. I feel like if he just wants people to get divorced, and nobody should feel bad about it. The kid, oh my God, if the kid feels bad, smack him in the face and say, move on. That's seemingly what it feels like here. So that's kind of my opinion on it. You know, I saw this article. I posted it on Twitter. I was pretty mad. And, you know, again, my situation's weird, and I could probably talk more about it at some point in the semi-near future that would maybe give you guys a little bit more, you know, intel into it. But, you know, even from the position I'm in right now, that's kind of how I feel. I don't really think any of that stuff is controversial. This game is not going to physically assault you, okay? If you play, don't worry about getting like punched in the face when you're playing this game. It doesn't do that. I know if you read this article, you may believe that. And then I really think it's okay to talk about these sensitive issues. And then, you know, they'll talk about games that feature, let's say, battles overseas and stuff where like groups, I don't want to say the actual, the W word, right? They'll talk about games like that and say, oh, it's not portraying. So you want it to show you all of these very dark and dark political things and dark life things with all these civilians, but you don't want this game to talk about divorce that hurts you so much. You know what I mean? So like, who hurt him? Who hurt this guy? So that's what I would like to know. Let me know, guys, in the comments below. What do you think? That was a fun video. I'm honestly glad I did it. It may get me in trouble, but you know what? Who cares? I honestly don't care. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on, so you know all these videos go up. As always, again, you can follow me over on Twitter. I'd really, really appreciate it. Podcast now 15. This is going to be probably the only controversial thing that I make on this game, unless something else happens. But like I said, I'll be doing a review. We'll probably talk about it comparing to A Way Out. We may talk about the ending of the game on the channel. So quite a few more videos on It Takes Two coming. I hope to see you guys there.